Hey folks, so let's talk about the blog post settings that we have. Now, as you go over to page settings and you head on over to posts, you'll see that within this area, the following section unfolds and we have a number of additional settings. Now, if you also take a look at the following screenshot, you can see that we have certain sections laid out. So we have title area, additional info, content, and so forth. These sections on the left hand side are duplicated with the sections on the right. So have a look at the following screenshot and then you'll know which areas, which one of these areas are related to a certain section on your blog post page. Okay, so as you scroll down, we can see that we just have a long screenshot of the page content and the layouts, and at the bottom we also have some very generic settings in terms of selecting whether you want to have your blog page or your blog post page always full width or with a right or left hand sidebar by default, and also if you want to set featured images automatically, meaning that the first image uploaded to your blog post will be set as the featured image. Okay, and then also here we have blog responsive images, so you can enable this or disable this for all devices, or allow responsive images only for mobiles, or allow responsive images for all devices. Okay, so these are just some very basic general settings for all of your blog posts. Okay, next off, heading over to the title area. This section over here contains some additional content. So we have our featured image, then we have our blog post publish date, social media sharing, categories, and so forth. So first of all, you can choose whether or not you want to display a featured image on your blog posts in general. You then adjust the elements color. The elements color is basically all of the fonts and all of the social media icons that appear over your featured images. For the featured image settings, we have several options. There's a full width, or you can go with the original size. Next, for the featured image height, you can make adjustments here, and at the bottom we can make adjustments for all of the font settings above our featured image, and then also show or hide categories, social links, and so forth with dates. So all of these settings are pretty generic and pretty standard. Okay, so next off, going over to additional information here, we can basically enable or disable whether or not we want to display additional info. And to get that additional info, we have a quick note here. So go over to generic miscellaneous additional info. So let me open this up in our new tab. So generics, and then heading over to miscellaneous, and here we have additional info. So in the following section, you can choose well, first of all, you can change the title for your link list title, make all of the font adjustments, information on the list such as partners, and once again make font adjustments here. So this is also kind of pretty generic, mostly related to font and label adjustments. Alright, so heading back to our settings here, let's go on over to the content area. Within this section, everything is also pretty simple. You simply enable or disable next and previous post links, change the titles, adjust the fonts. Also for your content width, this is also very important to understand how this works. Essentially, you can upload, let's say, an image that is 1500 pixels wide. However, if your content width is set to 900 pixels, that means your images will be displayed at 900 pixels. Okay, so that's just something to understand, because many times we get questions that blog posts are too narrow even though you've uploaded an image that, let's just say hypothetically speaking, is 2,000 or 3,000 pixels wide. So if you have that issue and you want to widen up your blog post content, go over to the following section and make the required adjustments. Okay, and then also for the content sizing, there are several options. It's either fixed pixels or proportional to the screen size. Okay, so that could be 10%, 80% of the screen and so forth. So just depending on what your preferences are here. And then some other basic adjustments such as show blog post tags and show blog post button share links. For the comments area, this section is also pretty generic. Head on over to generics and section 5.2, which is comments. So here we have our comment settings. First of all, you can enable or disable whether it's going to be WordPress comments or Facebook comments. And at the bottom, you can also make some very basic adjustments in terms of labels and font sizing here as well. Okay, and then heading over to related items, this section is also pretty simple. Once again, going over to generic section 5.4, related items, and make all of the adjustments here. So as you can see, we can change our background color, the elements color, titles, fonts, and that's pretty much it. So a lot of the settings within your blog posts actually are related directly to the generic settings. Okay, so that's just something that you need to keep in mind as well. Alright, so I hope this video explains some of the settings that we have, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys around later.